Ladies and gentlemen of Westfax Brewery, it's time to start the comedy show. And to do that, I'd like to introduce your host for the evening. Not John Holmes, not Sean Combs. Give it up for my guy, your host for the night, Mr. John Combs!
All right, welcome to this, the 6th Bordello's Waiting Room showcase at lovely Westfax Brewery. Give the folks at Westfax Brewery a big hand. Make sure to do right by Emily and Zach behind the bar. So this lovely Westfax Brewery is located by the historic and gastrointestinally destroying Casa Bonita. That place is constantly packed. I don't know what the bathrooms look like, but it's probably like D-Day. We have some great comedians here for you tonight, as always. So give it up for them, big hand for them. They're going to be bringing you free comedy tonight. I have noticed a correlation between how broke and unemployed comedians are and how funny they are. So if someone really tears it up tonight for you, really makes you laugh, buy him a sandwich. You know, ask how their day's going. Maybe offer to give them a sleeping bag. The bridges are kind of cold when you sleep under them. There are exceptions, however. My Bordello Waiting Room group, JJ Jones. JJ Jones over by the bar there. He'll put this on. Very funny. Employed. And John Davis, where's he? John Davis. There he is, back there. Also very funny and employed. And Ken Cornell, back there, right there. He's employed. And then there's me. I have 2 jobs, so, you know, I'll leave it for you to decide whether or not I'm funny. On the serious tip, there's been a lot of difficulty in the news for the last week. A lot of people upset. A lot of black people upset. So, Brad and Angelina, man, I just... mind blown. If a relationship that starts with an affair can't succeed, what chance do any of us have? You know, and none of the black people are going to be getting adopted anymore, so real upset there. Even though our lips and Angelina's lips look a lot similar. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to contribute tonight in terms of jokes. I should probably let you know. A few weeks ago, I was a victim of a theft. My car was broken into, and by broken into, they opened the door and just lifted it open. I left it unlocked. Well, in my defense, I live in Arvada. You know, I live in Arvada. Who's gonna rob me in Arvada? I mean, some soccer mom looking for a copay for Kaiser? I mean, the only time you see people get in your car in Arvada is because they've mistaken your car for another SUV. But you know, all black SUVs look alike. So anyway, I looked and I had a lot of stuff in there. You know, I had my expensive, you know, transportation system, my guidance system. I had my wallet in there. I had a lot of stuff in there. And so I go back inside to tell my wife. I'm like, you know, we've been robbed. We've been pilfered. And she said, well, what did they take? And this is a true story. I said, they took my wallet, they took my MP3 player, and they took my book of jokes. True story. Took my book of jokes. The jokes I write for you lovely people, they took that. And she's like, why did they take that? I don't know. You've not gotten anything out of that. I know. You're not going to get anything out of that. I know. So, you know, it has sort of a happy ending. The Arvada police called me a few weeks later, and this is also true, that they had recovered some of my stuff. And I was like, oh great, they've recovered my stuff. I mean, and when I was driving to the police department, I was thinking, you know, I wonder if they wrote any notes or any tips in my joke book, you know, maybe with red pen, you know, just kind of, like, just some pointers, because I could use the help. Something, you know, just looking at it and going, huh, let's see. Let's look at his one-liners here. It says, started running a few days ago. I like to keep in shape. Ran 2 miles yesterday. That lady really wanted her purse back. Too racial. I wouldn't open with it. Another one-liner here, it says, pot stopped being fun once I had to smoke it with all the 6-year-old girls with seizures. Pot joke, Colorado, derivative. So it turns out, also true, I got my wallet back, I got the iPod back, but I didn't get the book back. Didn't get it back, so someone, somewhere, is bombing with my jokes. Bombing with my jokes. But this next comedian, he's not gonna bomb, he's great, he's a member of the Bordello Waiting Room, my buddy, my brother from another mother in Boston, or wherever you're from, Canada, someplace in there. Anyway, he's great, he's funny, he's employed. J.J. Jones.
What's up, guys? How you doing? So yeah, Brad and Angelina, huh? This is a week for stupid people to speak their opinions on that. Sitting at a restaurant and the girl at the table next to me seriously says, oh my God, I feel so bad for the children. You mean the 3 that got plucked from the third world? Like, don't you wish they could go back and walk 4 miles with water not knowing who their parents are? Awful. And how are they going to live in 2 separate places and $400 million to divide? Oh, sadness. I recently, in the last year, got married. Yeah, oh wow. And you learn a lot of things when you get married. You know, the pizza boxes have to be thrown out that day. Dishes go in the dishwasher. And my wife yelled at me for this. I peed in the shower. And I really thought everybody peed in the shower. I mean, I wasn't showering at the time. And my wife was. So that might have been the issue. But you know, men and women have a very different point or story of when they fell in love. Like the woman, it's usually something sweet, like magical. Like my wife always says. She was having this really bad day. And there was a thunderstorm on and the power was out. And she called me and she's like, I'm just having a terrible day. So I went over with flowers. And I had my sweatshirt covering the flowers so they wouldn't get wet in the rain. And I showed up at the door and she said, you know, that was so sweet. That's when I knew I loved you. When did you know you loved me? And like any man, it has to do with us getting away with something that we can't believe we got away with. When my wife and I were dating, we attended a wedding. I allegedly blacked out. I wake up the next morning, walk into the bathroom and look in the bathtub and go, that's weird. Why is my suit there with vomit all over it? And why is my wife's dress there with vomit all over it? So I walked out pretty confident and I looked at my wife and said, hey, what asshole vomited on us? She goes, you're the asshole. I'm like, shit. And I asked that thing that if you're married, you've asked your wife this. Are we still together? And she looked at me and said the sweetest words she's ever said. Barely. And I thought, oh my God, I love this woman. My wife is an immigrant. Don't worry, she's from Canada. And we had to do the immigration process, which sucks. They ask you a lot of bizarre questions. But the great part is I'm the American citizen in this conversation. I'm in control of this meeting. This is the only time in my relationship that I'm going to be in control. So I'm going to take advantage of it. So one of the questions they asked you, has your wife ever prescribed to jihad? So I looked over at my wife and I whispered in her ear, you doing the dishes tonight? She said, are you don't fuck around. Like, this is serious. Said, you can do the dishes, or I'm going to tell them about your pen pal named ISIS. The next question, they said, has your wife ever talked about overthrowing the US government? And I winked, I go, walking the dog too? She goes, you need to stop now. I go, hey, you can walk the dog, or you can go to Guantanamo. I mean, it's up to you. Weird situation the other night, actually, involving my wife. I was, walking through my house like you do in your underwear. And I walked by the mirror and I thought I had a nice bulge going. So I decided I'm going to Google men's bulges. Apparently I don't have a very nice bulge. So I'm a little depressed about this. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to watch some porn. So I go to type in amateur into Google, but I'm kind of a shitty speller, so Google changed it to amputee porn. Which is as bad as it sounds. So I'm like, fuck this, going to bed, night's a wash. My wife comes home, gets on the laptop, sees that the last two Google searches are men's bulges and amputee porn. Next thing I know, my wife wakes me up and she's got a carrot in her panties and her arm shoved up her sleeve. Which is as good as you might think. Give it up for John Combs, everybody. Thank you.
Give it up for J.J. Jones. And for those of you that are wanting a visual for the wife, she's right there. Now you know who he's talking about. This next comedian is also a Bordello Waiting Room group member. Give it up for the majestic, the resplendent, karaoke, Ken Cornell. Looking all bashful.
How's everybody doing? Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Well, it seems our good friend Colin Kaepernick is up to his old tricks again. Landing on the cover of Time magazine. It seems he's going to be suing the NFL. Now, half of his law team wants to sue based on First Amendment issues. The other half wants to sue based on work-related ramifications. So in other words, Colin Kaepernick won't be in court this year because of a torn ACLU.
Grown.
How many people like impressions? Oh, perfect. I'd like to do an impression for you now. Yeah, Yosemite Sam sings Breathe by Pink Floyd. Run, you varmint rabbit, run. Dig a hole, forget the sun. If you don't get it by then, I guess maybe it's not that funny. I don't know. That one is supposed to end with me going, bang, bang, shoot. Oh. Sad I didn't get to that part. I'd like to do an impression for you now. Sammy Davis Jr. singing Alt Darling's 90s band, Filter. Sammy Davis Jr. sings Filter. I said, hey man, nice shot. Nice shot, man. Woo! Thanks. Give me a second. Sometimes it's really hard to come out of the character. Oh, I'm sure you'll get this one. Oscar Wilde sings The Smashing Pumpkins. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. I knew this was a hip audience. Okay, I'd like to do an impression now. King Kong, The Day After. King Kong, The Day After. Yeah, give me accounting. Look, I'm not paying for the planes. He would have come down eventually. How? Gravity. Moron. Slam. Obviously, I'm doing the 1976 King Kong because of the Princess phone that I'm miming with, not the Sarah Get Me Mount Pilot phone from the 1933 version. It's an artistic choice I made. I don't have anything against that kind of phone, it's just not quite as intense. Par example, Sarah, could you give me them fellers up in New York? Look, I'm not paying for the fucking planes. How? I guess it ended up just coming down sometime. Barney, come shoot the phone in the talkie part. All right. I went to the library the other day, and I noticed that this little tiny branch that I library at has this security guard at the library. And so I was talking to him, I'm like, hey man, why does the library need a security guard? And he goes, isn't it obvious? People are constantly trying to get really, really smart in this country. And we gotta put an end to it. And then he looked at me really funny. I knew he was fucking with me. I knew he was just being, he was a cool, hip, sarcastic library cop. Which is a new series this fall on True TV or something. All right, thanks. My name's Ken.
Give it up for Ken Cornell. Told you he was employed. I support Kaepernick. Is that his name? I support the brother for doing what he did. But I have a real hard time tying my shoes nowadays because I always get booed when I do. This next comic is great. I saw her at Comedy Works. Give it up for Sarah Haynes. Yay!
Hello, so I used to day drink a lot when I had a day job, but now I'm a server and I just drink all the time. But for those of you that haven't been involved in the service industry ever, or you haven't really had that life, it's great. It's horrible. Okay, it's the worst thing ever sometimes. Sometimes it's great when you get tipped. And then there's other times when, like, a customer walks into a restaurant and you say, oh, how may I help you? And they're all like, oh, we'd like to eat. It's like, no shit. You're in a restaurant. What else would you be doing? And then you kind of want to mess with them. They're like, oh, we'd like to eat. And you're like, oh, hang on. Hey, do we have food here? Oh, we do? Okay, good, guys. For a second there, I was really worried. Or you want to be like, and they'll say it so pompously. They'll be like, ooh, yes, we'd like to eat, yes. Ooh, it's not Downton Abbey. I'm not going to get on my knees and let you eat off my back. This isn't that type of restaurant. It's not that kinky. No, or sometimes it's like you kind of want to mess with them even more. Like, be like, oh, you want to eat? I thought you wanted to see the pretty pink unicorn we keep in the back. If you're really nice to it, it shits rainbows and pukes gold. But then there's other things. You know, it's a great restaurant sometimes. And then there's other things like you like to make fun of the people you work with, right? Because, you know, if you're in a hot kitchen or involved with that where there's burning plates and you're in an area where you're around people a lot all day, you make fun of each other. So it's always wonderful when there's things to make fun of each other about. Like, for instance, well, let me explain. If you work at a restaurant, there are copious amounts of cocaine involved. There are people that do so much cocaine. Like, for instance, when you order that lovely piece of brownie with the powdered sugar sprinkled on top, look, I'm not saying it's gonna be cocaine. I'm just saying that there's like a 50% chance it might be cocaine. Anyway, when we found out that, say, like a colleague was on a TV show called Drugs Inc. and happened to be buying cocaine in Cancun on spring break, that of course is going to be very exciting. It's like God lifting his hand from out of the heavens and going, I give you this gift to make fun of your coworkers. And the best part was this guy has like a kind of Justin Bieber gangster walk, so they couldn't really disguise that in the Drugs Inc. video, because he's all like, yeah, and you're kind of like, that's not how anybody walks. Stop walking like that. So when he's in this Drugs Inc. video, we all know it's him. And he has his voice changed and stuff, but not all the time, so it was great making fun of him. That is, of course, until you drop a meatloaf on a child and you're the next target. It's like, oh, it's all fun and games till you drop a meatloaf on a child. It's like, oh, Sarah, why'd you drop that meatloaf on a child? Well, in my defense, he was asking for it. He was like reaching at me with his elbow, and I went, and I dropped the meatloaf on him, right? And it was like a fight or flight response. If he had come any inch closer, I would have punched him. So it's like it was just meatloaf, okay? But besides meatloafs and dropping things, there are also some really interesting interactions you can have with tables. For instance, like I had a table once, and they come up to me and I go, you know, do you guys need your check split up at all? And they go, no, he's my bitch. And I guess he was, because the guy paid for his whole meal, so he was his bitch. Or I had a table that had a sex toy on the actual table once. It was like a whip of some sort. And it's really hard to drop off plates when there's a whip on the table because you don't really know where to put the food, and you're kind of scared that if you don't give them a good meal, they might use it against you in some way. It's really awkward. But probably the best interaction I've ever had is a man that was at the bar, and he was drunk/high on crystal meth, bath salts, heroin. Okay, probably not heroin, but a lot of different things. And he comes up and he goes, come here, come here. And I go, okay, how can I help you, sir? And he goes, we'd like to eat. No, okay, he doesn't say that. No, he goes, you know. And I go, what? And he goes, you believe in aliens, right? And I swear he does the aliens thing with his hands. But anyway, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, yeah, you're a captain, you know. And so I walk over to our bartender, I'm like, he's cut off, right? And he goes, oh yeah, he's totally cut off, no worries, yeah, he's definitely cut off. And I go, okay, phew. And so I walk to the host, and then he comes over to us. Our manager's keeping an eye on us just to make sure everything's okay. And he comes over to us, and he's like, you need to vote for me for president, because I know where all the spaceships are, I know where the guns are, I know the aliens, so you gotta vote for me for president, okay? And we're like, sure, sir. Yeah, that's wonderful. And he goes, yeah, she knows. She's a captain. And I go, a captain of what? And he's like, you're a captain of a spaceship. You know. But don't tell him. You can tell all these lovely women, but they have to wear underwear on the spaceship because that's what's allowed. And we're like, so we'll have to, what? And then he keeps going, and he keeps talking, and he's like, but she's a captain. She's a captain, but you can't tell him. You can't tell him. He's mean. And he points to our manager. He's like, he was mean to me. And it's like, okay, sir. And eventually he leaves. But then we were all joking around. And so apparently, I am the captain of an intergalactic spaceship. So if any of you find some keys to a spaceship, just let me know because I'm the captain now. But yeah, he leaves, and then our manager come over, and he probably had the best line of the evening. He goes, now, if you all work as hard as Sarah does, maybe someday you too will be the captain of a spaceship. All right, thanks so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Give it up for El Capitan. Sarah Hayes. This next gentleman is also a Bordello Waiting Room member. Give it up for my brother, John Davis. John Davis, ladies and gentlemen. Bones, Thugs, and Harmony.
Thanks for shaking my forearm. It's Bone Thugs and Harmony, not Bones Thugs and Harmony. You do like metal. You like Slayer. Hey, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing tonight? You guys doing good? Fuck yeah, give it up for Westfax Brewery. How cool is that? Awesome. Recently, I don't know if you guys know this, it was Straight Pride Day. It's the day for all the straight people to let everybody know they're not going to take it anymore. I'm 32, I've been straight my whole life. I've never faced any discrimination. I've never been out with a girl and a group of gay guys surrounded me and started taunting me. Call me names like, hey, pussy fucker! Just make me feel bad. It's never happened. If you do cocaine, stop it. What are you doing that for? The point I'm trying to make is doing cocaine never increased somebody's opinion of you. Nobody was ever like, guys, I don't think we can trust Jim. Oh, he's doing cocaine. Oh, great, we'll put him in charge of the money. Fantastic. This is great. I got a buddy who's dating a girl that cheats on him all the time. Like, it's on Facebook and shit. We show him, he's like, you don't know her. It's like, shut up, dude. He's like, I've got to take what you say with a grain of salt. And she's like, on Facebook, she's basically sucking another dick. Like, look. I'm like, is that your dick? He's like, no. But, so I asked him, I'm like, why do you stay with her? He goes, well, she's hot. I was like, but you're miserable. I'm like, why does that matter? He goes, because when I walk into a bar or the mall or a restaurant, every guy is jealous of me. Because she's so hot. I'm like, you're dating a hot girl to impress a bunch of dudes? That's the gayest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But I go on a lot of dates. I'm 32, I'm not married, so I go on a lot of dates hoping somebody will say yes. They haven't. Probably because I get on stage and talk shit about them, but... So I'm out with this girl, and at the beginning of the date she goes, if this becomes something and you cheat on me, just so you know, I forgive, but I don't forget. I'm scared. I forgive, but I don't forget. You're gonna, if I cheat on you, you're gonna forgive, but you won't forget. Well, of course you're not gonna forget that. Who forgets getting cheated on? When's the last time an ex-boyfriend went to his ex-girlfriend and was like, do you remember when I slept with your sister in your bed? And she's like, ooh, not ringing a bell. Give me more. You were out of town and it was on your birthday? No, nothing. Boy, you'd think I'd remember that. I must have forgiven you and just wiped it from my memory completely. Because that's what normal people do. So after that, she said, to get to know me, she's like, I have this fun game I play on dates to get to know people. I like to ask them a bunch of fun questions. I'm like, oh, Jesus. And so she says, she goes, just a bunch of questions like, if you were stranded on an island, what 3 things would you take with you? Just stupid shit like that. And so then she hits me with this. She goes, if you were on death row, what would your last meal be? I'm like, I don't think the meal's the important part of that scenario. I think you should be worried about the fact that I'm on death row. The question on a date shouldn't be, if you were on death row, what would your last meal be? The question should be, hey, do you ever think you're gonna be on death row? Because if the answer to that's yes, I need to get the fuck out of here because I don't want to be the reason you're on death row. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been great. My name is John Davis. Have a good night.
Give it up for John Davis. John Davis. All right. You guys enjoying yourselves?
Yeah.
Having a good time? All right. This next comedian's great. I have enjoyed him many times. Give it up. Give a big hand for Will Mearswa.
Hey! How we doing? All right. Everybody, I would assume we're at a brewery, so everybody's drinking tonight. sponsors know, get the fuck out right now. The only thing I don't like, though, I was kind of thinking about this. It's like I'm doing a show at a brewery. I know I'm going to get drunk. I hate hangovers. We've all been there. We've all had them. But the reason I hate it is like you wake up the next morning. I hate waking up so hungover that the next morning you look like Matthew McConaughey from the Dallas Buyers Club. You know, you go to a party and you wake up and everybody's slumped over like John F. Kennedy in the motorcade. You're just like, oh, the Kennedy jokes are too soon? Really? Come on.
Election year.
Yeah. Oh, God. It is an election year. I'm so depressed. I have an interlock device on my car. Why cheer? Don't cheer. Jesus fuck. But I have an interlock device on my car, and sometimes I like to blow into it way too hard and dance while listening to Little John and the East Side Boys, hoping that it will tell me that I'm too crunk to drive. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm gonna keep trying. Does anybody ever think for a second that maybe the Roswell landing was just a space DUI gone horribly wrong? At a space bar, they ended up driving home and clipping a meteor, which is the equivalent to wrapping your car around a telephone pole, and then they end up in the worst possible place any being can land, New Mexico. They just step out of the flying saucer, they're like, oh shit! Oh shit! What happened? I don't know, man. I don't know. We're just at the space bar. The space cops were on us, and I don't know what happened. They look over. Fuck! Barry's dead! If you don't believe that there's an alien named Barry out there, you're fucking wrong. That shit goes forever. Don't you tell me there's no alien named Barry. We are in election year. Sorry to bring the mood down. But I mean, really at this point, like watching the presidential debates, I mean, isn't it like, it's kind of like watching the Special Olympics, but with less guilt. You know what I'm saying? Anyone can compete. It doesn't matter who wins. And at the end, everybody gets a juice box. It's adorable. I mean, fuck. At this point, our government is just like two divorced parents that can't co-parent properly. That's all it is. You know, they're just arguing each other. This is your weekend to take gay rights. I don't want to take gay rights. I had gay rights last weekend. Well, you have to take gay rights this weekend. I don't want to take gay rights. Well, at least take Black Lives Matter. No. This is the Louisiana Purchase all over again. I'm not taking it. Why? So you can see one of your whores? You all elect these people. I don't know why the fuck you're laughing. Be like me, don't vote. But it is. It's the kids I worry about. I mean, I don't have any. I don't want them. But those of you who have kids, this is the world we're leaving for them. Like, we need to get our shit together for them. I mean, no, fuck them. You know what? No, no, fuck them. Okay. They're probably accidents, it doesn't matter, but should have been swallowed when we had the chance. Speaking of children, have you guys ever eaten acid at a jazz club only to realize that you're screaming "Play more Coltrane" at a bunch of kids in their elementary school music room? Just me, huh? Yeah. I suggest y'all live a little bit. I don't know though. Kids are weird. I don't like them. They're just larvae forms of shitty people. But I think you need to hit your kids. Okay, bear with me here. I'm not saying like Chris Brown a kid, just cock back. No, don't do that. But a prime example here. So I work at a bank, okay? I work at a bank, And this woman comes in with her son, okay? Comes in with her son, and what, like, start doing her transaction. What's the first thing a kid wants when they go into a bank? A sucker. So I'm doing this woman's transaction, and out of nowhere, this little fucking accident goes, I want a sucker! And I'm looking at the mom going, what are you, like, do something about this. And she just gives me one of these. And the first thought in my head is, you weak bitch. So I brush it off. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I do the transaction. I'm handing her the receipt. And all of a sudden this little Mongoloid goes, I want a sucker! And I'm looking at the mom, I'm like, for fuck's sake, do something! And once again, what do I get? Like that. That's the fucking noise that woman made. That poor sack of skin. Don't owe me. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, this is gonna be this kid's future. That's it. That shrug is gonna be all this kid's future. Like 20 years down the road, they're gonna find a bunch of fucking Tinder dates that didn't go so well in his shed, and he's gonna be in the courtroom going, why did he do this? And she's gonna give the attorney that same hit your kids is what I'm saying. For the love of God, make the next 20 years decent. I'm sorry. This is the wrong meeting to be doing all this at. Oh, my court mandate says I'm not supposed to be drinking, but I got so blacked out drunk the other day, it was dark. It was dark. I was like Wesley Snipes in space. It was dark. I sent a dick pic to myself.
Lord and see me.
The worst part about it was I was so fucked up, all I could do is respond with, new phone number, who's this? Which wasn't even the worst time, because the last time I did it, my dad was pissed. Does anybody ever hear, I'm assuming with all of you laughing at my misfortunes, has anybody here ever been written up at work before?
Yeah.
Be proud about it, goddammit.
Horn the car!
Be proud. Woo. I have. Yeah, my ex-boss is back here, just like, yeah, I got a stack on that motherfucker. Surprised he got his anklet off this early. I got written up at work pretty recently. I was at Red Rocks, okay? I was at Red Rocks and I was having a great time. I was having a killer time. I was having the kind of time where I felt the need to issue a formal apology to the city of Morrison kind of time. You ever had one of those times? Well, I'm hearing color and I'm losing my vision slowly when I get a text message from my boss that says, we have a work meeting at 7:30 a.m. the next morning. Yeah, I can hear it. I can feel that collective. And I made it to the meeting. I don't remember it. But god damn it, I made it there. So the next day I get to work. My boss slaps it right up on the table. I go, what do I do? What did I do? She goes, you don't remember? No. Guys, before I get off this microphone tonight, if there's any wisdom I can leave you with, it's that when you are blacked out drunk at 7:30 a.m. at a work meeting, and you sign up for a potluck, underneath what you're gonna bring to the potluck, a big heaping plate of this dick is not a viable option. My name is Will Mears, and give it up for yourselves, goddamn, and have a great night.
Give it up for Will. Will, about that babysitting for me and my wife, we'll reschedule. We'll reschedule.
You came from my baby shower.
Heyo! It's not a party until something gets broken, right? So this next comedian is going to be at the Nerd Roast next Friday at El Chorito. It's a great place to go. Check it out. Give it up for Katie Hannon. Katie Hannon, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everybody. I'm gonna just maybe make a controversial statement. I'm gonna say don't hit your kids, you know? Try that, maybe. I don't know. I work with kids who have been hit, and they therefore like hit and kick me a lot. And I don't love it. Usually I can like keep my cool, but a little while ago, a kid did the first thing that I like considered unforgivable. He told me the end of the newest Star Wars movie that came out. Just like straight, he knew what he told me like exactly what happened. It was like the closest I've ever come to retaliating against a child, you know? Like I was very close to just being like, well, you spoiler alert, buddy. I didn't do it. I was talking to a childhood friend of mine recently, and she was reminding me that when we were little, when we would play house, we would like all come up with our dream husbands, you know? So my friends would be like, my husband's a doctor, or like, my husband's a lawyer. And I would always be like, my husband's dead. Just like, as soon as I learned what a widow was, I was like, I'll take it. One for me, please. That's an option, so cool. I think I just learned from like an early age that being sad is the biggest power play. You know, like you can do whatever you want if you're sad. I was just snatching Barbies out of my friends' hands, being like, my husband died. He was a marine biologist, so. I've heard a lot of ladies I know recently say that they stopped taking their birth control pills because it made them crazy. Which is, I'm like, how can you tell the difference? They're like, I was crying every day. I'm like, we're not all crying every day? That's not a baseline? They're like, I was gaining weight. I'm like, fuck, we're not all gaining weight? Oh, they're going the wrong direction with this one. There's been a lot of awful things in the news. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with that. I want to be supportive, but I don't want to be like, look at me, I'm being supportive, you know? Like, I wanted to post something on Facebook, but everything I came up with was like, Black Lives Matter, but not just because I'm a white person and I say they matter. Like, I don't even like myself, I'm sorry. Does that help? I don't. It's like kind of a long hashtag, but I feel like it's close, like to boil it down, it's kind of like being a white person at a Mexican restaurant. Like you don't want to be that awful white person who orders like a quesadilla, you know, like you don't want to do that. But you don't want to be that awful white person who orders like a quesadilla, you know, like don't, it's not yours, I don't know. If you guys are looking for a way to constantly explain yourself to strangers, tattoos are one of the best methods out there. I gotta recommend tattoos. I have some. I want to get another one underneath this one that just says it's not a Triforce. I think that's my next step. I didn't know, you guys, I got this for a book. I had never heard of Zelda. I didn't know about it. I did not know. But a grown man does yell Triforce at me every day, so that's pretty fun. Like, if you're gonna get a tattoo, I think just do a little research. Make sure it's not like the symbol for like a neo-Nazi group or something really bad, like a church or, something terrible. I also, a woman came up to me recently and I was wearing like a tank top and she goes, "Oh my God, are you a tri-delt?" And I was like, "What? No." She was like, "Yeah, the triangles." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I got a symbol for the worst thing men do and the worst thing women do. Video games and sororities on my body. For life, you guys, for life. It's awful. Be careful out there. So I work with kids, and when I was a kid, we were really into Legos. My friends and I built a lot of Legos. Nowadays they have Lego sets, and they have different ones for boys and for girls. And the ones for boys are always super exciting. They're always like, "You're gonna build a spaceship or a tank, you can fly around the world." And the ones for girls are always like, "You're gonna build an animal hospital. You have to watch sick ponies." Or "Boys, your toy comes with a laser sword and a fire gun. Girls, your toy comes with an obligation." Isn't that fun? I love to think of children using their imaginations. Boys are like, "I shot down his TIE fighter." And girls are like, "Things have been pretty touch and go with Buttercup. Just a very stressed 8-year-old. That's kind of the child I was. I was very stressed. I threw all of my Barbies into a trash can when I was 8 because I was like, I can't care for these women. I can't give them the dream homes and convertibles that they deserve. I have 8 Barbies, 1 Ken. What kind of life am I forcing these sister wives into? Couldn't do it anymore. I'm a straight lady. I'm still grossed out by 80% of the dicks I've ever seen. I find them very upsetting. I know vaginas aren't perfect either. There's a lot of flaps and frills. Really could have simplified the design, but ain't that just like a lady? Gotta have those accessories. Am I right? Gotta accessorize. No, I think my problem with dicks is just that they change forms so dramatically. Most of the time you're just dealing with a chubby, lazy bookworm. You're like, "Where are your glasses, little guy?" He can't even keep his little head up. But then the other times it's very different. You're like, "What is this a demonic possession? Is this a levitation, classic light as a feather, stiff as a board situation?" No. What's actually happened is that it's become engorged with blood. It's just full of blood, you guys. I think that's so rough as a guy. If you want to signal to someone that you're interested in them, you have to be like, "Hey, I packed this full of my blood." It's defying gravity. It's so full of blood. Put it in your mouth. Could you please put it into your mouth? And then we do put it into our mouths, you guys. That's the craziest part. Do you know about that horror movie? It's called Teeth. It's about if a vagina sprouted teeth. It's supposed to be scary, but I don't understand why that's scary when you're just putting your dicks in mouths willy-nilly. That's the real horror film. You guys know that the mouth is the tooth's natural habitat, right? Just shoving that delicate blood tube into old spooky tooth cavern. It seems risky to me, but it's your body and you can do what you want with it, because you're a man. Okay, thank you so much.
Give it up for Katie Hannon, ladies and gentlemen. So I learned from that set I've been doing oral sex all wrong. So we're gonna change the tape so I get to stall. I get to stretch.
He doesn't know how to do it. He didn't need to. He's covered in ink. I don't even know how that happened. He's not really covered in ink. I made that up.
But that's good. Anyone know any good jokes? Good jokes? All right. I'm going to go back there, and I'm going to change it and figure it out.
This is professionalism. Man. It's fun. This was Ken Cornell before the show. Hey, Ken, you know how to change the tape? Yeah, I know how to change the tape. And there he is, not changing the fucking tape. Ken, that's how Ken acts when he gets a woman naked. Hey-o! It's funny because it's never happened. I'm just kidding, he's got 2 daughters.